An 8-year-old is supposed to come home. Lunch, cartoons, a nap. Ordinary things. Not a hospital bed. Not a funeral. Not a country's grief.
This is Obrixen. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Aria. If careful, human-centered reporting matters to you, please like, subscribe, and tap the bell. It helps these stories reach the people who need them. Yeah.
Today, Magura District, Bangladesh, early 2025. A child, 8 years old, sexually assaulted, then later died. The case traveled from a local shock to a national reckoning about children's safety, women's rights, and the weight of a community's response.
The words feel like stone in the mouth. An 8-year-old. I keep hearing that age and thinking of, tiny shoes by the door, a school ribbon, the way kids shuffle when they're bored. This is not abstract. It is a family, a neighborhood, a school, punctured.
Let's begin with what is appropriate to say and how. We won't name the child, and we won't detail the assault. We'll use neutral language: assault, attack, injury, medical complications. We'll speak about process, police, medical, court, because process is how societies decide what they value.
Yeah, and we'll keep the focus where it belongs, on the victim and those who loved her. We do not owe perpetrators our fascination.
Timeline. Publicly reported contours. A child was assaulted in the Magura area. There was an immediate health emergency. The family sought care. Local facility first, then additional medical attention as severity became clear. She later died. An arrest followed. Authorities described the case in terms consistent with Bangladesh's Women and Children Repression Prevention Act, a legal framework for prosecuting sexual violence, particularly against minors.
MMN. In that window, between attack and hospital and death, there's a whole universe of human activity. A parent trying to breathe and make decisions. A neighbor grabbing for a phone. A driver yelling for someone to get in. Nurses snapping on gloves with hands that don't shake because they can't. NMM. Not while a life is trembling on a table.
The medical component matters. In sexual assault involving minors, standard practice prioritizes stabilizing the child first, airway, breathing, circulation, before any forensic collection. Where possible, clinicians document injuries, collect samples with a chain of custody protocol, and note statements that the child or guardian voluntarily provides. Trauma-informed care asks clinicians to avoid re-traumatization, no repeated questioning for curiosity's sake, no unnecessary exams.
Yeah, and none of it erases suffering. But it can protect dignity, and it can preserve evidence that courts need later. MMN. Too often, families meet disbelief, delay, or shame at the door. When a hospital or a clinic responds like a shield, that changes everything.
On the law, Bangladesh has a specialized legal path for such cases: police investigation, medical legal reporting, filing under the Women and Children Repression Prevention Act, and prosecution in a special tribunal. In severe cases, rape leading to death, the law allows for stringent penalties. Bail determinations consider community risk and witness intimidation concerns. Ideally, minors' identities remain protected throughout.
NMM. There's a second law that isn't on paper. Power. If the accused is connected, wealth, politics, local status, the family can feel outgunned from the start. If the family is poor, if they are migrants, if they are from a stigmatized community, the fear multiplies. Yeah, the best law in the world cannot help if a mother thinks the price of seeking justice is losing the rest of her life.
Investigative steps. What responsible policing entails. First, immediate scene security and documentation, though in cases like this, the scene can be a moving trail. Home, path, clinic. Second, interviews that are child-sensitive, preferably with trained officers or forensic interviewers. Third, preserving physical and digital evidence without contaminating it. Fourth, avoiding leaks that feed rumor and harm. Rumor is its own violence. The internet loves a tragedy it can twist. Blame her parents, Blame the child for walking alone. Blame whatever fits your bias. NIM. No. A child has the right to exist in the world without being attacked. That's the baseline. We should not negotiate with that truth. About the accused, without naming. Early arrests in cases like this generate both relief and tension. Relief that someone is in custody, tension about due process and the quality of evidence. Courts must avoid wrongful conviction while acknowledging the asymmetry. Children rarely fabricate such trauma. The medical record speaks. Corroboration matters. Yeah, and we can hold two things at once: a fair trial for the accused and a loving, unambiguous solidarity with the victim. Those are not rivals. They are the foundations of justice. Community response. Magura is not a metropolis. District-scale tragedies ricochet fast. Vigils, marches, demands for safety near schools, calls for better street lighting, community watch programs, school-based prevention education tailored for children, and stricter enforcement against harassment, EV teasing, on routes children actually use. Men. Here's a hard one. Prevention education can slide into telling kids to shrink themselves. Don't walk, don't laugh, don't breathe too loud. NIM. No, the responsibility sits with adults who harm, with communities who look away, with institutions that fail to protect. Teach kids language and boundaries, yes, but teach adults accountability. Health system capacity is part of protection. District hospitals need trained pediatric trauma teams, sexual assault response kits, and protocols that trigger automatically. No doctor should be improvising under that kind of pressure. Referral pathways to specialized urban centers must be prearranged.
Yeah, and after the emergency, there's the long tail. Counseling, school reintegration plans for classmates who witnessed aftermath, family support for siblings who are now terrified, and a mother whose nervous system will ring like an alarm for years. We talk about trials and sentencing. We need to talk about therapy and rent and food and how grief pays no bills.
Ethical lines in coverage. We won't narrate the assault. We won't repeat graphic hospital details. We won't sensationalize. We will center the child's humanity, student, neighbor, relative, without exposing private identifiers. And we will refuse to platform the perpetrator as a dark celebrity.
Let me say this as a sentence with steel in it. If your curiosity needs gore to feel real, your curiosity is the problem. The reality is already unbearable without cinematics.
Structural context. Bangladesh has grappled with public pressure around sexual violence for years. Reforms, amendments, fast-track courts, these are not unfamiliar debates. Yet numbers and anecdotes alike tell the same story. Many cases never make it to court. Many survivors never report. Many families settle under duress.
Yeah, and each settlement can feel like a practical survival decision in the moment and a collective wound long-term. When power buys silence, it teaches future perpetrators they can rent impunity by the week.
Risk factors that professionals watch, general patterns, not specific to this case. Unlit routes to school, isolated latrines, adults who have unsupervised access to children with minimal community scrutiny, transport vulnerabilities, cultural norms discouraging children from disclosing discomfort, prior reports that went unaddressed.
Oh, so what works? Give me actions that are more than slogans. MMN, because mothers can't tuck a slogan into a backpack.
Actions with evidence behind them. School-based body safety education tailored to age, with clear reporting pathways that bypass abusers. Community escort or buddy systems for common routes, especially at dusk. Hotlines staffed by trained counselors linked directly to police and social services. Hospital-based sexual assault response teams, coordinated with child protection services. Witness protection mechanisms, practical and quick, so families can testify without retaliation. Case tracking dashboards for prosecutors to reduce delay and lost file excuses.
Yeah, and add the social pieces. Media commitments. Don't name minors. Don't publish clickbait that reharms families. Faith and civic leaders taking the mic to say, "We believe children and we protect them," without hedging. Men, NNM men, saying out loud that masculinity has nothing to do with domination and everything to do with stewardship.
Let's return to the timeline. After the child's death, the legal charge elevates, the stakes change. Autopsy, performed with dignity, becomes a critical document. Courts will ask, what caused death? What injuries are consistent with the reported assault? Were there intervening medical complications? Did the care meet standards?
MMN. Somewhere in those questions is a family sitting on a bench outside a courtroom, fingers locked together so they don't float away. Justice is a process word. Grief is a storm word. They coexist, badly.
On the accused's life history, without intruding. Courts sometimes seek a profile: employment, prior allegations, substance abuse, proximity to the child's home, phone records placing them near the scene, any attempts to interfere with witnesses. None of this excuses. It explains patterns, opportunity, and risk. Yeah, and sometimes what you find is ordinary banality turned into horror. A familiar face, a neighbor. That's not a plot twist. It's a statistical reality. Most child victims know the person who harms them, which means stranger danger can't be the only safety story we tell. After an arrest, defense and prosecution posture. Defense may question evidence integrity. Prosecution emphasizes medical findings and child protection statutes. Judges must balance speed with fairness. Delay degrades memory and courage. Haste can cut corners. The right answer is resourcing. Enough judges, enough trained prosecutors, enough forensic capacity. And enough kindness to the family, practically. A ride voucher, a meal, a quiet room to wait, a social worker who knows their names. Justice without logistics is theater. National discourse followed. Parliamentarians, activists, lawyers, doctors, arguing causes and cures. Some push for harsher penalties. Others argue for certainty of enforcement over theatrical punishment. Empirical studies in many countries suggest that the probability of being caught and convicted deters more than the theoretical maximum sentence. Yeah, if wolves think the fence is paper, they'll walk through. If they think the bell rings fast, they don't. We need bells that ring fast. Digital harm is adjacent. Posting rumors about the family, sharing hospital photos, doxing witnesses. These acts are not commentary. They are a form of violence. Law enforcement should treat them as such. If you are the kind of person who forwards an image of a grieving child to a group chat, please sit with the question of who you're becoming. Then stop. Yeah, there is also the school. Classmates, teachers, administrators, how they carry forward. Crisis counseling, memorial spaces that are age-appropriate, inclusion of parents in safety planning, reviewing campus perimeters and arrival/departure flows. Oh, and rituals matter. A tree planted, a scholarship in her name, a library corner where stories are safe. Children understand symbols better than policy memos. What we will not do is pretend the legal finish line is the moral finish line. Even if the court convicts, the work continues. Prevention pipelines, survivor support, and public memory that says children's lives are not footnotes. MMN. A sentence cannot resurrect a laugh, but it can mark a line, and that line can protect the next child. Summation. Facts we can responsibly assert. Early 2025. Magura District. An 8-year-old child assaulted. Medical emergency. Subsequent death. Arrest. National attention. Legal proceedings under child protection and sexual violence statutes. The rest, specific medical details, named individuals, exact procedural steps, belong in court filings and clinical records, not in a podcast. Yeah, we'll hold the line between enough truth to honor her and too much detail that teaches harm or feeds voyeurism. Practical guidance for listeners in Bangladesh and elsewhere. If a child discloses, believe them, thank them, ensure immediate safety, seek medical care. Preserve clothing in a paper bag if instructed by professionals. Do not wash items unless advised. Report quickly to authorities. Request a child-sensitive interview environment. Ask hospitals for sexual assault response protocols. Advocate if staff seem unsure. Document dates, times, names of responders. Reach out to trusted NGOs or legal aid groups specializing in women's and children's rights for accompaniment.
MNN. And if you're a teacher, a neighbor, an auntie, a bus driver, watch the edges of your world. You see the routes kids take. You hear the whispers first. Your vigilance is not paranoia. It's love operationalized.
To the family at the center of this, though we do not name you, we're speaking as carefully as we know how because your child matters, and because the way we talk about her shapes whether the next child is safer.
Oh, may her memory be a blessing, and may her city learn to be kinder, faster, braver.
This is Obrixen. If this conversation strengthened your resolve to protect children and pursue justice, like, subscribe, and tap the bell.
Yeah, share this with someone who needs the nudge to act, not just ache.
Take care of each other.
MN, and keep the small ones close, the way we wish someone had kept her.